Building a private network of dozens or hundreds of websites requires a serious investment in digital real estate. Most search results for the cost of that real estate are misleading. The industry frequently conflates two separate expenses: the labor of an SEO agency and the cost of the underlying server infrastructure. This comparison clarifies the baseline. While an agency retainer for writers and consultants averages nearly $3,000 a month, the infrastructure, the actual SEO hosting, starts at a fraction of that. Placing a site on its own dedicated Class C IP address costs as little as $4.25 per month. The $4.25 rate is anchored to the rental of a dedicated IPv4 address. Because the global supply of these addresses reached exhaustion years ago, they now trade on a restricted secondary market. To understand your actual overhead, you have to look past human labor rates and focus on the price of renting these scarce digital addresses. A common misconception among network operators is that scaling their site count will eventually trigger a volume discount on their current hosting tier. There is also confusion regarding the purpose of these unique IPs. Their sole function is footprint separation, ensuring that a network of interlinked properties does not appear as a single entity to web crawlers. Paying more for a premium hosting tier does not act as a ranking multiplier. Google and other search engines view an IP or host change as a routine technical update rather than a promotional signal. You are purchasing operational safety and control. Spending more on server space in the hopes of boosting search engine rank is an ineffective use of capital. Per IP costs decrease when you shift between hosting platforms rather than simply increasing the quantity of sites. There is a specific threshold where this platform shift becomes necessary for your bottom line. We call it the 32 IP rule. This graph illustrates the shift. At exactly 32 IP addresses, a shared plan and an entry-level VPS both cost $136 per month. Shared hosting charges a flat $4.25 per IP, creating a linear trajectory. The VPS requires a $40 base fee, but only $3 per IP, rising at a shallower angle. From 33 IPs onward, the VPS is permanently cheaper. At an 800 site scale, an operator on a shared plan pays $960 more every month than they would on a VPS. That results in an annual overpayment of over $11,000 for the exact same set of addresses. Monitoring your site count against this threshold is absolutely essential. Ignoring the limit guarantees a rapidly growing overpayment with every new domain you add. Beyond the scale of the network, geographic location introduces another pricing variable. In Europe, IP allocations are managed by the RIPE NCC registry. Because this registry has exhausted its free pool of addresses, it now operates entirely on a restricted recovery-only waiting list. This regional scarcity creates a 50-cent monthly premium on every European IP address. Some buyers pay this premium just to add variety to a global portfolio, even when they aren't targeting European users. The European premium is a localized marketing expense. It is only a rational purchase if the network explicitly targets European results. You might assume that moving to a dedicated server is the final step toward a bulk IP discount. In practice, the math works in the opposite direction. A dedicated server is designed to handle extreme computational bottlenecks, such as the intense processing loads required for real-time rank tracking or scraping. Because of the raw hardware resources involved, these IPs actually cost more per unit than those on a VPS. While dedicated hardware solves for processing power, operators on shared plans often hit a different wall. Shared SEO plans typically impose a ceiling of 5 GB of storage and 50 GB of bandwidth per IP. Simple, text-based sites rarely exceed these limits. However, media-heavy properties featuring high-resolution video or image galleries will hit these resource caps incredibly early. Moving to a dedicated tier is a poor financial strategy for acquiring IPs. It is only necessary if your primary bottleneck is disk space or raw processing power. To find the most cost-effective tier, you can map your requirements onto a standard decision framework. This matrix organizes the options based on two axes: your network scale and the density of the resources your sites require. Small-scale operators with 1 to 30 sites and minimal resource needs belong in the bottom left. Shared SEO hosting is the most efficient choice here. Networks with 33 or more sites shift to the bottom right. At this scale, the lower per IP cost makes an SEO VPS the only logical choice. If your operations involve heavy scraping or high-density media that exceeds storage caps, you move to the top right. Dedicated hardware is required regardless of your IP count. Finally, if your goal is targeting European audiences, the EU Premium is applied as an overlay to any of these categories. The pricing grid reflects specific infrastructure profiles. Each tier aligns with a particular technical bottleneck, meaning there is usually one mathematically correct choice for your network. When selecting a plan, evaluate your infrastructure based on a 12-month growth projection rather than your current site count. If your roadmap involves crossing the 32-site threshold within the year, starting with a VPS will prevent you from being trapped on a shared plan as your cost scale. Treat SEO hosting as a utility. Select the precise capacity you need for the coming year, and avoid paying for premium hardware features that do not resolve your specific technical constraints.